And
yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning. There is like 50 dudes, 2 tanks, and a helicopter.
a tank.
2 tanks.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Sesh. My name is Rick James, and today we're out at Frostys Fresh's studio. We're doing a filming, shooting a rig, and finding out who he is. So,
How you doing, everyone?
what's up, Frosty?
How are you doing today?
Doing good. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, and we want to hear your story.
So I got into blowing glass after I got in trouble for growing marijuana. I was big into growing out here for quite a bit. I had quite a few houses, plants, yada yada. Had a little bit of trouble. Someone told me I lost my gardens. So after I lost my gardens, it was either work a 9 to 5 or I chose to blow some glass. I used to buy and sell a lot of glass. It was just something I did when I was growing. So I knew there was a good market in the industry. If you could make something that people liked, I definitely knew there was good money behind it. At first, my goal was just to make like $100 a day where you could make it a regular job. So I started making spoons and things of that nature. So I hated making spoons. After like 50 or so spoons, people were asking me to make pendants. My logo is a snowman, and so people wanted to see the snowman. After that, I started making a few pendants that evolved into hollow pendants, which evolved into making rigs. I knew you needed a niche in the market as well, so I took the hollows and kept my face. That was kind of what people know me for now. It's still what they know me for.
The snowman.
Yeah, so and the face evolved onto the bottles, and that's what I've kind of been making, and people would know me for is my faces that I put on my rigs.
So, wait, hold on. Let's take this a step back. You said that you'd had some grows and you were working in the industry that way, or?
Correct. That's what I started out. I've done it for quite a few years out here. That
Okay.
was like my big thing when I first started. I lost my homes, my cars, things like that. I think they found like 700 plants when they came.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
It's
that-
700?
yeah, that's what. So that was doing my thing, That's what a lot of people knew me for in the industry
Okay.
beforehand.
So you just one day wake up and get popped and...
Yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning. There's like 50 dudes, 2 tanks, and a helicopter.
A tank.
2 tanks.
Are you saying that like you got walked out and you saw tanks?
Yeah,
in front of your house?
yeah. It was pretty crazy.
Did you ever think that was gonna happen?
I mean, it's always in the back of your mind
Right.
that something could happen. It's not like you don't plan that to happen.
Right. So that's crazy. So things happen, get in trouble, and then you just decide, okay, I'm gonna start blowing glass.
I had to choose something.
And that was it?
That was what I chose to do. Like I said, I used to buy and sell glass. So,
Right.
I mean, some of these pieces go 10, 15, 20 plus $1,000. I mean, up into the $40,000 to $60,000 ranges.
Right.
So, I was happy if I could make a couple $100 a day at this point, you know what I mean?
And how long did it take you to get to that level? Just even a couple $100s?
Well, I'd say it progressed pretty fast, but I put a lot of time in. I've been on the torch for about 1.5 years now. So I work pretty hard every day. I put a lot of hours in, 16-hour days on a regular basis,
Okay.
and no days off. So
That's intense.
that really helps quite a bit. I think the amount of time I worked, I probably have worked maybe 3 years worth of work in my 1.5 years. So that was a huge factor in helping me progress as fast as I have.
So you started making spoons, and did you just use like your Instagram name, or like
Yeah,
how did...
so I kept my Instagram name. When I got trouble for growing, they put my name on the news.
And that's Frostys Fresh.
Frostys Fresh.
Right.
My weed was always frosty and always fresh. So we harvest every 2 weeks. That's kind of where my name came from.
I got you.
My logo came from the company LRG. Was a big inspiration. LRG is a lifted research group. It's a weed-based company. A lot of people don't realize that. They throw it on their kids and send them to school. So I wanted a cartoon. I love cartoons. I wanted a logo similar to that I could throw on a shirt. If you knew who I was, you knew who I was. If you didn't, it was just a snowman to you.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So like I can go into a store with like my snowman shirt and people will think it's funny. Older people think it's funny. It's cool. It's a snowman. It's Frosty the Snowman. But people that actually know it, they know who I am, what I'm about, and like my history and stuff.
So what came first, like the snowman, the image, or like the glass? Like
100% my image. That was my image when I grew.
Okay, so
that's always been my logo from when I grew. It was on my packs. It was on all my wax, all my products. I just transitioned that 100% into glass. They put me on the news. I'm all over Facebook, Google, yada yada. So I figured there's quite a bit of history behind that. A lot of people knew who I was with that name. So instead of getting rid of that, I tried to turn a bad into a positive. And I just kept my name and push forward. So people knew who I was before. They now understand what happened to me. They understand what I'm doing. I had a lot of support from the community, which was super awesome. They understood what I went through. I don't think what I was doing was a horrible thing. I may have had too many plants, but I wasn't out there killing anybody. I actually helped quite a few people with, you know, the medicine I produced.
There you
go. So, like I said, I just tried to take a negative thing and turn it into a positive thing. So I definitely kept my name. People knew who it was, and then from that point forward, I just started making glass.
That's awesome. So we went into spoons, then you go into pendants. Pendants into...
I made solid pendants for a while, and
how are they doing?
They were fine, but when I started getting into some shops, I got a little bit of complaints they were heavy. Some people liked that, some people didn't. Right, exactly. So we transitioned to hollow. It was a different world, something new for me to learn.
How long did it take to like figure that out?
I made like 150 solid ones, so I understood the face pretty well. I was still trying to improve. I still trying to improve on it constantly, but so I understood the face pretty well. Now it was to the point of like learning how to make a hollow bubble and apply a face to it, or sculpt it, or whatever I wanted to do.
Sure.
I probably made like another 50 to 100 hollow pendants, and then the market was demanding rigs. I mean, that's what everybody wants.
Right.
I think pendants are more of an accessory, so if you have a big enough name, then you can sell pendants like that. But it got to the point where I needed to make rigs, so I started taking my hollow learning and pushing it onto a rig. At that point, I understood how to do the face still, so I put it onto a bottle. I wanted to keep that niche. I know a lot of the bigger artists, Elbow, Rhino, things like that, they have a niche. Everybody knows Elbow for his dinosaurs, you know, what he does. Everybody knows Rhino for his ducks. Bigger name artists have a niche, and so I took that as something that I needed to have for sure. My faces were a hit. I had been doing really well, so I then took that and transitioned on my bottles, so I had something people knew me for. They could see my work and recognize it.
How did you learn how to blow glass?
A lot of trial and error, honestly. I've seen a few people blow glass. I've watched people here and there, and when I was buying and selling in the days, I've seen some things here and there. But honestly, it's trial and error, man. Get on the bike and ride, you know, and make some mistakes. And I knew a lot of the bigger artists because I bought and sold, so I would study their work, like things that I had problems with. I would look and see how they did things and try to reverse engineer their work, and not to necessarily copy them, but just see like, okay, how are they doing things? Like, what are they going about? How are they getting things done? And so that helped me a lot. And I started at the top and worked my way down, try to perfect my eyes, my nose, my mouth, and then continue to go over and over again. And I still constantly try to perfect these things, but that was like really my way in.
Who was like some of your bigger inspirations then?
When I first got started, I had a homie, Jordy Minnick. He painted a painting for me, came down, and I watched him work a few times, so I learned a lot of sculpting off of watching him work.
Glass blowing?
Yeah, yeah, and Glass Hole, he's a really big artist, does a lot of sculpting. Voorhees does a lot of faces. So there's a couple big guys that do things similar, you know, and I look up to.
Did you feel that like sculpting was your way to go, or like how did you
I kind of fell into it, honestly. Like, people bugged me to make the pendants, and then just trying to make a face, that's really what I was focused on. And I want to make something different than what most people made. Most rigs are simple, or they have horns, or this or that. And you don't see a ton of things with faces on them. Yeah. You don't see a ton of characters really out there right now.
Well, what's interesting about yours too is that he looks kind of like smushed a little bit, or like he's got like definitely a character, like you're saying. Like, you can point it out and say, yeah, that's Frostys Fresh.
And that was my huge goal from the start, is to have something, a niche, or something that people notice. So if they see my work, they know it's my work. I wanted something that you could recognize easily, and not was like, who made that? You know what I mean? Like, you automatically know when you've seen it.
No one else is doing what you're doing.
Right.
Tell me about what we did today. We shot you making a rig, and what did we make?
Yeah, shout out to Puffco. Puffcos are killing it right now, and it's a huge market, so people want attachments for their Puffcos. I did a series of 10. I do a lot of limited series stuff, so the first 10 I did were my full face bottles. And I left them alone for a little bit, and then the demand has still been, the people bug me constantly all day to make Puffco attachments. So today you got to see me make a head in the bottle.
Okay.
So I made 5 of those for the Puffco. That would be the only 5 that I make, and so customers got to pick their colors, and then
you were working on 2 of them today. Is this 2 out of the 5?
Correct. Correct. So the other 3 are finished. These are the last 2 that I was finishing up. You got to see the head in the bottle, the actual head being made today, and then I had one that was pretty much made, and I needed to just assemble it from the bottom portion down.
What colors were you working with?
The one that we assembled today was Potion from Glass Alchemy. I love Glass Alchemy's colors. I think they constantly strive to put one of the best colors out there. And then I also did the plain head that you got to watch me make was Amazon Bronze, which will be sandblasted. It'll be a flat black when it's completely done.
You do all the sandblasting yourself?
Yeah, all my sandblasting I do myself. I have a little setup here, and it's pretty simple.
It's pretty impressive for, you said, a year and a half, and you're already this deep into like your skill set.
Yeah, I think like the hours I put in and the determination to feed my family. It's not a hobby to me. I mean, I love what I do, but this is what puts the food on the table. And you know, it's either sink or swim. And I have a fair amount. I have 8 dogs, and I definitely need to keep them fed. It's not.
You have 8 dogs?
I have 6 Frenchies, a Chug, and a Great Dane. And so my Great Dane eats like a horse. She's a small horse, and then the pack too. So that's a big thing for me too. That pushed me.
There you go.
Is like I said, I need to make sure they're taken care of. We need to make sure there's a roof over our heads, and that everything was okay. So there was really no option to fail.
You were driven to survive.
100%.
And now it looks like you're doing really good for yourself.
Yeah, I love what I do. I've had a huge support from the community. I'm super happy from day to day. Currently, I am incarcerated for what I was doing, so I'm on a work release program.
How does that work?
They let me out at 9 in the morning. I get to go to work, and then I have to be back by 9 at night.
That's so crazy.
It's the best the situation could be.
Okay.
For the amount of plants and the amount of marijuana they found, I definitely could have went to prison. It was my first offense. I've never been in trouble before, which helped me a lot.
Sure.
So I'm thankful for what I got.
Do you regret anything?
No, not at all. I could have done things maybe differently a little bit, but no, I never would like to have lost that experience. I was probably making close to $1 million a year doing what I was doing. So I'm 32 years old. I mean, I had a great time.
A good run.
Yeah, 100%. And it's brought me into this. I probably never would have blown glass if I didn't transition, you know, from here to here. So
what's next?
Headier pieces, man. I've been doing a lot of collabs, trying to expand my work with other artists. And
if anybody wants to work with them, hit them up.
Yeah, 100%. I love to do collabs. It really broadens my horizon, my work. It pushes me to do things I'm not comfortable with. So that's really where I'm at right now.
What's been the most fun or like one of the best collabs that you've worked on so far?
One of the ones I did recently was pretty dope. I did with Nest Glass, and we did Recycler. I don't build recyclers, so that's something outside of the work that I do. So working with people that do recyclers are fun. I have the option with work with some bigger artists now as I progress, which is cool to me. I feel like I'm a young white belt still. I've only been on the torch for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I know my work has progressed fast, but in my mindset, there's people out there that are way 10, 15, 20 years on the torch. And to work with some of these people that have been on the torch for 10 or 15 years that are actually accepting me and saying, yeah, I'm down to do collab with you, stuff like that is super cool to me. It shows that I have progressed enough where people actually are accepting to work with my art.
And you were talking about how everything is limited for you, so you're not making the same thing over and over.
That's my goal. Like say like with the Puffcos,
right.
The first I only did 10. They're numbered 1 through 10. These ones are a little bit different than the first one. They're 1 through 5s. I'm going to do a 1 through 5 of a naked edition with just a simple clean bottle. A lot of my merchandise is like that. A lot of my shirts are numbered, 1 out of 50 or whatever they're through 50 that we make. I like to give people something that nobody else has. You know what I mean? That's big to me. So yeah.
But that's also good for the collectors too, because then that way you'll still be able to retain the value of your piece.
Yeah, that's the goal too. Is a the collectability, but also not to have what everybody else has. Like my faces are all very similar, but I try to make them a little bit differently, different colors. I try to give somebody a one-of-a-kind piece if I can. You know what I mean? I try not to have the exact same piece every single time. That's not my goal.
So pretty much give a special experience for everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. What would you recommend to somebody who wants to get started into blowing glass?
Man, people ask me all the time, like, really, you got to get a torch and just start blowing glass. Like a couple $100, you get yourself a torch. You need an oxygen tank and some propane, and you're pretty much off and running.
Where can we get some glass at? Like good starter glass.
Yeah, I order all my stuff through Lampwork Supply. It's a company that I like a lot. They're really good to their customers. Mountain Glass is a decent company out there. There's quite a few companies that you can actually get raw material from. But it's just like riding a bike, man. I mean, I could tell you all day how to ride that thing, but until you get on it and ride it, like, it's not the same, you know?
Dude, that's a great explanation.
So, yeah, and it comes down to, like, how good you want to ride that bike or how many tricks you want to do. Like, I can tell you all day how to do them, but until you get on and practice and learn, then you're not going to get anywhere with it. That's, you know, pretty much how I learned myself. I've had friends and different artists, you know, throw me some tips and information here and there. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to trial and error. There's quite a bit of hands-on experience I think you need to put in to actually learn how to blow glass.
Where can we find your stuff at?
All my stuff's on Frostys Fresh on Instagram, Frostys Fresh. On Instagram, I do have a website, frostysfresh.store. That's my main social media that I use right now. And quite a few smoke shops in the valley of Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. I have quite a bit of stuff as well.
Cool, well, we appreciate your time, man, and look forward to seeing what you come up with here in the future.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem.